I'm Bill Maher, and today I sat down with O'Shea Jackson, better known by his artist name, Ice Cube. For starters, he was half an hour early, which is unusual for LA, but nevertheless a pleasant surprise. We kicked it off by talking about success and fame. I complimented Ice Cube for leading a scandal-free life in the public eye. Many celebrities don't have their heads on straight and get caught up in destructive behavior. We agree that it's important to stay grounded and not obsess over the 1% of things you don't have, while ignoring the 99% you do have. We talked about knowing when to push the plate away and when to cruise, comparing it to riding a bike where you don't have to constantly pedal. We also discuss how people in show business can create their own little kingdoms in their heads, becoming disconnected from reality. I brought up the TV show Succession and suggested that he would love it, because it's about a mogul and his family fighting over succession. We discuss how many successful people have a degree of insanity and a desire for more. We brought up the Beehive as an example of how fans can become violent in their defense of their favorite celebrities. We talked about how fans can enable destructive behavior and how hard it is to tell an entire fan base that they're not helping. We talked about comedy and the power of laughing at ourselves. Ice Cube's song It Was a Good Day, for example, takes a unique approach of describing what didn't happen on a good day rather than what actually did. Comedy can be cathartic and allows people to say things they might not be able to say otherwise. Take the Wayans brothers movie, Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, for instance. It provides a way for people to laugh at situations and truisms that they can't say themselves. We talk about the current culture of bad faith arguments and how people try to get each other rather than learning from each other. There's a trend of constant name changes for ethnic groups, suggesting that it only serves to keep people bickering instead of focusing on the real issues. Ice Cube adds that the industry benefits and profits from this division. By following the money, one can see who benefits from the bickering and division in society. Of course, there's also the media. It shapes the narrative by accentuating certain stories and leaving out important information. Both left and right-leaning media create their respective bubbles and focus on what their audience wants to hear. That's why it's important to be a straight shooter who presents facts without bias, while acknowledging that audiences today often want to order off the menu, seeking news and opinions that align with their beliefs. We talk about the state of the country post-pandemic and how, despite the challenges, America is not falling apart, and there is still vitality in economic activity. However, we acknowledge that there are also struggling people and systemic issues that need to be addressed. For example, the problem of excessive spending and debt, bipartisan issues that contribute to the country's problems. We discuss the failures of government projects, using a failed high-speed rail project in California as an example of wasteful spending fueled by corruption and inefficiency. Ice Cube discusses his basketball league, the Big Three, which he co-founded. The Big Three is a professional 3-on-3 basketball league that aims to elevate the game to a professional level. It adds some unique rules, such as a 4-point circle for longer shots. I shared an argument I had with my friend Woody Harrelson about whether shooting an airball in half court should result in going back court or not. Ice Cube agrees with Woody that shooting an airball in half court should not require going back court. He explains that the purpose of half court is to save time and focus on the action near the basket. Ice Cube uses the analogy of boxing and MMA to explain that the Big Three is creating a new game with its own rules, separate from traditional 5-on-5 basketball. He emphasizes how 3-on-3 basketball requires players to be versatile and capable of doing multiple things on the court, unlike in 5-on-5, where players can specialize in specific roles. Ice Cube acknowledges that sometimes players have off nights, even in the NBA, but highlights the small margin of error in professional basketball. He mentions LeBron James as one of the few players who consistently perform well. We moved on to the topic of policing. Ice Cube reflects on the changes he has seen since he released the song Fuck That Police in 1989. He acknowledges that while individual police officers may not have changed much, there have been some accountability measures put in place. He notes that before the song, cops were rarely held responsible for their actions, and society often automatically believed their version of events. Society has evolved, and young officers may have different attitudes and communication styles, due to social changes in technology. I expressed my concerns about the police department's mentality and the emphasis on personal safety, rather than solving problems without resorting to violence. Ice Cube agrees and points out that police forces are like fraternities with certain unwritten rules of engagement. He explains that police officers are often trained to prioritize going home safely, sometimes resulting in excessive force. The emptying the clip mentality, where all officers feel compelled to shoot multiple times, stems from fear and the desire to mimic one another's actions. I very much appreciated Ice Cube's explanation as it sheds light on why police shootings can escalate quickly and disproportionately. We agree that a change in mindset is needed within police departments to prioritize de-escalation and finding non-lethal solutions. I believe policing is not the most dangerous job, despite officers often discussing it as such, but it can offer excitement and a sense of power for those seeking action. Still, Ice Cube expressed his hope that police departments will undergo reform and that officers will be held accountable for their actions. Change takes time, but it is essential for addressing the issues in policing and creating a safer and more just society. We veered into the topic of vaccines, where Ice Cube expresses his personal decision to not take the COVID-19 vaccine due to concerns about its safety and the lack of long-term studies. He emphasizes the importance of individuals making their own choices about their bodies based on their unique circumstances. Ice Cube clears up that he has taken vaccines, but those that have been extensively tested before being administered. I agree that questioning authority and having different perspectives is necessary, and highlighted the media's tendency to dismiss and discredit dissenting opinions. Take Robert Kennedy's candidacy, for example, and the media's bias in portraying him as a kook instead of embracing different voices in the political discourse. I'm Bill Maher, and I'd like to thank you for listening to this PodFast summary of my conversation with Ice Cube. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. See you next time.